I'm State Representative Justin Simmons of the 131st District, and welcome to my legislative report. Today, we are at Black River Farms Vineyard and Winery in Lower Saucon Township, and I'm joined by the owners, Andy and Kris Warner. How you doing this morning?
Great.
Great.
Good.
Welcome.
I've been told you are the first winery in Lower Saucon Township. How long have you been in business?
That is correct. We are the first winery, and we originally planted our first vines in 2010.
Okay.
And we started harvesting in 2013, and we started selling wine in 2017.
What made you choose to settle at this location?
We live in Lower Saucon. We have for 20 years. We moved here when we were about to deliver our first child. And we just live about a half a mile away from this location. We own the land. It's actually zoned for 1 acre homes. But one thing you can do by right in Lower Saucon and most of Pennsylvania is do agriculture. And so we didn't want to go through a development process, and we decided to look at the ideas of agriculture. And we felt if we're going to do something on this 17-acre site, we want to have something with the most volume as possible. So we brought in 3 different consultants before we made the final decision, and they all did soil samples, and they all came back and said, you'll grow some pretty nice grapes here, and we have. We've been successful.
What type of wines do you produce?
We grow 14 different varieties. The main variety that we grow is Chambourcin, which is a French-American hybrid, came to the United States from France in the 1960s and really took off in the Lehigh Valley in particular, but in the mid-Atlantic area quite a bit. It's just a great light to medium-bodied red that is very versatile, great on its own, but also blending. We grow a number of vinifera's, European origin. We grow Chardonnay and Cabernet Franc, and a couple German ones, Limburger, which is very popular. Great medium-bodied red. That's our first harvest was last year, and it's really been a home run. We actually planted some more vines this year. We grow Kerner, and then we have a bunch of different hybrids that we grow, and we do some blends, and we do straight. And again, we have a total of 14 that we grow. So our harvest this year was 51 tons. So we sold about 12 tons. There's a couple other wineries. We used to sell more, but we keep more and more. So we'll use all of those different varieties in some form or fashion in our end product. We also grow Sangiovese, we grow Cayuga, we grow Ceval, we grow Vidal Blanc, Lacrosse, St. Croix. But again, Chambourcin is about 65% of our harvest.
I think you mentioned earlier, but how many acres do you have here?
It's a 17-acre farm, but we have, as far as vines, we have about we have in excess of 9 acres of grapevines, just under 8,000 vines.
Kris, what is your role here at the winery?
Well, the biggest role I have is participating in the gardens. I really enjoy my hands in the ground, so over the years we have extended our garden, and we have many raspberries and blackberries and all different types of vegetables, mostly which we sell to restaurants. And when we have an abundance of vegetables, we set up a little pop stand out on the roadway and sort of a self-serve stand, which has been very successful.
Can you guys explain to me any of the challenges of operating a winery?
Sure. You want me to touch on that?
Sure.
Okay. We're farmers, so we're subject to the will of the weather and our good Lord and what we're going to be dealt with. And so earlier this year it was troubling because we had so much rain, and that can create disease. Fortunately, we have a great breeze that comes over the site, and it lends itself to drying out quickly. So we weren't affected by any diseases, which is great. We stay on top of it, but we always have a consistent problem with pests being primarily birds. We have trees that surround our farm. And so they send out scouts when they think the grapes are ready, and then they tell all their friends, and they just keep coming. It's unbelievable. But we will net. We do scare tactics to keep the birds moving. Our dog is a great bird control in its own right. We have the whole property fenced in to keep the deer out, so we don't have a deer problem within here. It's really the birds are the biggest thing. As of now, there are other pests. I mean, we'll always deal with the Japanese beetles, which we can get rid of. But there's other issues that are coming our direction that we did not see yet this year, and that's a spotted lanternfly, which will probably come into our vineyard because it has other vineyards further west of us. But we did not see anything this year, and when we do, we'll deal with it. And the good news is that fortunately the state agriculture departments are working hard to try to curtail the issues associated with that, and those are partners with us. There's no question about it, to try to grow the best grapes within the state of Pennsylvania.
I understand you recently opened a wine tasting room. Can you tell me what type of events that you can have in this wine tasting room?
Sure. Our wine tasting room was the renovation of our original barn. We're fancy here. We call them Barn 1, 2, we're sitting in right now, and 3. And Barn 1 we did a great job of renovating it and using some great distressed wood, and so it'll be limited in its size of what could be hosted, but we try to use the outdoor space as well. But we've had surprise birthday parties there. We had a huge chamber function that was very well attended at the site, using inside and outside. We have some people that are interested in doing weddings, book clubs. We have a number of book clubs have been here already, and it's great. So we really actually don't charge a lot for the space. We just want to make sure that we sell our wine, which, in the state of Pennsylvania, the Right to Farm Act is a big part of us being able to we need to have these events to be able to get our product out in the street.
I see you've installed some solar panels. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah, it was one of the first things we did. It's an accessory use to agriculture, and it's a 200 kilowatt system. We generate about 232,000 kilowatt hours a year. We use all of it in one form or fashion, but we don't use all of it on this site. We do a net metering and use it on some other local properties. But we have a true, totally negative carbon footprint going on, not only for me and for my wife, but for our children. I don't think our children will ever have a power bill. But it was a part of our farm that we would not have used for any agriculture because it's in a low spot, thus it's more susceptible to frost, or at the beginning of frost, and also the rainwater that will sit in that area. We didn't want to grow any grapevine, so it was a perfect fit. And I have to say, when we did it, it took a little while to get it through from a township perspective, but we got it done and it's all good. And we try to have this nice open green space, and the township was supportive. But PP&L was phenomenal in getting that thing done. I'll never be able to say enough how great the employees of PP&L were to get that final product done.
What was the process like dealing with the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board when opening this facility?
Yeah, they were. We did it on our own. We didn't hire any outside counsel to help us. We had looked into that, but then when talking a couple of the wineries, they said, just as long as you're patient, you're going to be able to get it done. So, fortunately, we have. I have some very good staff that helps us. We employ a little over 20 people in this facility, and also with another business that we have, and so they communicated with the PLCB. And as much as possible, I would do it on occasion. When we first started to get some approvals from a wine label perspective, it was a little slow, but it started moving really great. And so there was an inspector that came out and interviewed both of us at our site and took a look at everything. And he was a gentleman, and he was very helpful to answer questions on our side. And it was overall smooth. We just had to be patient, and we were, because we weren't in a rush. We did this whole farm idea to make sure we could grow good quality grapes, and we were successful at that. That's why we decided we want to start making wine. So we didn't have a set deadline, so it was a good process for us.
Where can someone purchase some of your products?
As of right now, just in our tasting room, and on this site. We have another site that's licensed, but we don't really sell out of that site much. It's really at the farm, 2478 Black River Road, technically a Bethel mailing address, but it's in Lower Saucon Township. As time goes forward, we just started the process of becoming PA preferred, and so we will have the ability to potentially be in some of the wine and spirit stores and grocery stores. We've also had some conversations with some restaurants to put our bottles in some restaurants, and we're really, not to pat ourselves on the back, but we have some really good quality wines, and people are enjoying them. And we don't have anything very sweet. We have mostly dry and then semi-sweet. And we're finding people are really enjoying it. We see a lot of return guests coming back to buy more. And I think it's going to be a hit in the grocery stores, wine and spirits, and/or restaurants. I think people like to buy local.
What does the future hold for Black River Farms?
Time will tell, but we certainly plan on maximizing the site. We will eventually keep all of our grapes and have total estate wines selling from this location, plus probably some other retail locations, which we can do as a limited winery. That's what we're licensed for in the state of Pennsylvania. Will we continue to grow outside of this footprint? I don't know that I will, but maybe somebody in the next generation might want to do that. We're going to get a nice solid foundation here. We love this spot. We love the location. It's very convenient from a lot of different perspectives. We will continue to automate, as we always do every year. There's always more equipment. We're semi-automated now, but we'll get, I'm sure, bottling lines and et cetera, as time goes forward, and pay attention to what's the latest in the industry to do it. We employ a lot of people here, mostly part-timers, but we have a few full-timers, and we really try to introduce kids to the process. So we have high schoolers that work here. Some from high school are now working while they're in college, and some that have graduated from college are still coming back and working here. And so that's great. I mean, people are learning an industry that they thought they never would. I know of at least 2 occasions where kids have written their college essays on working at the vineyard, which certainly will bring a little bit of additional interest to those that read them, because you don't see that many of them.
Excellent.
Well, they really enjoy working here because there's every day it's a different job. Whether it's out in the vines, it could be cutting grass or weed whacking, it could be painting, it could be working here in the winery. So for them, it's very interesting, and they're learning a lot of skills that they probably were not introduced to prior to being here with us.
Excellent. Last year in the state legislature, I was happy to support a law allowing the direct shipment of wine via mail. How has that influenced your business?
Well, we weren't selling last year, but we certainly paid close attention to it, and we were glad to see more flexibility from a legislative perspective, no question about it. So this year, when we started selling wine, we've already had a few people from out of state contact us. Actually, it was a great connection with somebody that follows us on Instagram that went onto our website and made an inquiry to me via Instagram saying, "I'd like to buy some of your wine." And I wrote back and said, "Well, now that we can ship from the state of Pennsylvania, that's great." And he wrote back and said, "I'm in California. I thought you were in California. This is unbelievable." So he ended up coming here from a business trip and bought a half a case of wine that was shipped to California for him. And he's been writing positive things about it from out in California. So it's great. It's great.
Excellent. Is there anything you guys would like to add?
The only thing I could say is we did this for so many different reasons. There wasn't one particular reason. But one of the benefits is certainly that we've always enjoyed working outdoors, that we can keep a space that's really in the middle of Lower Saucon, the most populated area of Lower Saucon Township, that we can keep an open green space, which is wonderful. But one of the great things that we've gotten out of this thing is my children, who when we started were 8 and 9, or 9 and 10 years old, they've seen a small business start, and they've helped clear the land with us. They've seen it starting to sell. Our daughter, who is now at Northampton Community College, has a little bit more free time. My son's a senior in high school, but when she helps the bottling, they help the labeling. They see I share with them the numbers. I mean, so from a life experience, it's just been great for a family, and it's truly a family-owned operation.
That's fantastic.
It's fun.
Well, thank you guys.
You're welcome.
Thanks
Thanks,
for being
Justin.
with us today.
Thank you.
That's all the time we have today for My Legislative Report. Tune in next time. I'm State Representative Justin Simmons.